Welcome back, everyone. This time on Bark with Mark, we're going to do a long-term review on my Tuffy under-seat security drawer. Let's get into it. Okay, so if you remember the last video where we talked about this drawer, the last thing I did to it was I shouted a bunch of tools out so it looked really nice and clean. But as you can see, we've done a little bit of reorganization, and I'll tell you why. Let's get the camera in closer here so you can take a look. Okay, so here we are back at the drawer, and as I said earlier, things have changed quite a lot. There are two main reasons why I changed my setup. Now, let me say this first. I really did like that setup where I had all the wrenches laid out here, shadowed, and all the sockets and everything, and it was easy to tell where things were and if I was missing something, and things had their own little unique slot. But the first issue was space. Let's tackle that one. With the drawer being shadowed, yes, it was really pretty, but I came to the realization that while this is basically my toolbox because I live in an apartment now, I don't need the tools that much. And I don't need them to the point where I'm continually coming back in here and I need to see them all laid out all the time, like a toolbox would. I don't have a workbench right next to this where I can do that. So in my thought, I said, you know what? Why don't I come up with a better system to fix problem number two? Now, problem number two was tool storage. This kit right here was not. This is a fan clutch set. Yes, I keep this with me. There's a few things I can do with it, but yeah, I didn't have a multimeter. This guy right here is to shoot new valve stems into tires. I've had it for a while, but it's always ridden in behind my seat. This socket set has ridden behind my seat. This I did not have. There's a few things I had in here, but most of the stuff that's in here actually just straight up was in a bag behind my seat again. These little odds and ends were behind my seat. Also, I have things like my spout for my roto packs, the additional spout, and we'll go over that in another video. That was also behind my seat. You could see that, like, I would say probably about 40% of the stuff in here currently was behind my seat, or I just didn't have it. So doing it like this actually helps out a lot. You see, I've come to the realization that being able to just pick something up, like a whole bag of sockets, or a whole bag of wrenches, or a whole bag of like Allen wrenches, or a bag with like random, pliers and such, is much easier when you're working underneath someone or working on someone else's rig, where you constantly will have to come back here and grab the right size. Now, I know some of you are going to say, oh, I can grab the right wrench the first time. Yes, a lot of us can do that. But what if it's not your rig? Or what if you're working on more than one bolt that you didn't see? Then you got to come back out of the Jeep and grab the right one. And, it's time consuming. It's wasteful. If you're working on someone else's rig, it's just so much easier to grab a bag. Yes, you have to do a little hunting through the bag to find the right size, but you have all of them at your disposal right there. The other thing is, how is the drawer held up? It's held up extremely well. I've not done a thing to it. There's been no issues. This is a lot of weight in here, to be honest. I can't remember how much they rate it for, but it's held up just fine. And in fact, I leave it out like this a lot when I'm working on it, and there's no tweaking of the hinges on the side. There's no bending of the top up here. There's no nothing. And honestly, like, I could probably fit more stuff in here if I reorganize it a little bit. There's a few caveats with the drawer, though, that we can go over. The biggest caveat is this space right here. And a lot of you are probably wondering, why don't I have, tools and junk piled there? The reason is because there's a latch right in here. And with that latch, it has to glide over this stuff. And so you can't have anything really taller than that in like this section of the drawer right here, where this latch is, and here. And it's just the nature of the beast. They had to find some way to lock it. I like the locking mechanism. It works every time. There's no issues with it. But, you do lose out on this space. So this is what I could come up with in this area. Another thing we want to take a look at is the top of this drawer, and I'll move you up so you can see. Okay, so here we are taking a look at the drawer. Now, the reason I want to take a look at this is I was concerned when I first bought this that the top of this was not going to be strong enough, and let me dispel that. You can see that I have an ARB fridge. That's probably about 50 pounds. Add 20, 30 pounds of food in that thing. You know, we're getting up there in weight. Of course, I have water, so you've got that weight. 5 to 7 gallons, sometimes 10 gallons is what I carry with me. Chairs, there will be clothes and camera gear in here too. So, you know, I'm probably carrying somewhere north of I don't know, I'll say on the high end, 250 pounds on top of this shelf here. And it holds it just fine. It doesn't bend, it doesn't creak, there's no issues, there's no cracks in any of the welds. You know, yeah, it's a little dirty, and sometimes it gets really scratched up from sliding junk in and out and being on sandy, dirty roads and dirt getting in here and things sliding around on the surface. One thing I could say that would be a nice improvement, if there was a way to like actually mount stuff to the drawer easier than drilling holes and mounting tracks, but you know, that is what it is. It's not a huge deal. In fact, I use like your little seat latches on here to strap stuff down, or like the fridge mounts to this little hook here that's meant for something else, but you know, it works just like that. But yeah, it's totally strong enough. So I know they're expensive like some of the other gear that you can get, but honestly, now that I've figured out how to get all my tools in this drawer, it has been so perfect because I have so much more space inside the cab, and it keeps everything so much cleaner. And the biggest benefit is if I have all my junk piled on top of here for a camping trip or overland trip, and I need to get a tool out, or I want to check something, or I want to tighten up lug nuts or whatever, I need to get a tool, right? It's as easy for me as pulling off this strap and just hitting this button and pulling this drawer out. It's as easy as that, which is nice because I don't have to unpack all the stuff in here to get to my tools. And in fact, it's helped out with another issue too, which is now behind my driver's seat or my passenger seat, I have a whole empty spot behind there both. So now I can put recovery gear in strategic locations that I know I can get to. It makes organization way better, and I highly recommend it. It's been very tough. It has some awesome features like being able to lock. The handle could be honestly in a little bit higher spot, because sometimes your hands grab the lip of this and it doesn't feel too great. But that said, all in all, it's actually a fantastic system, and I highly recommend it. So, with that said, guys, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you like what's going on the channel, hit subscribe down below. Leave comments on what you think, like how my drawer works and how my tool system works out. And really, if you want to know what tools I carry with me, leave another comment below and we'll do a video on that. I think that'd be a good video for a lot of people, because when I started doing this, I had no idea what tools I was going to carry. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next one.